passive absorption of facts. We cannot eat and learn. Learning is really a dynamic, continuous transformation of our brain. It's the building of new neural pathways, shaped by curiosity, effort, emotional engagement, and of course, action. We need to be active to learn.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is your favorite time of the week. I think it's my favorite time of the week, too. I usually say that. Yeah, it is my favorite time of the week. Anytime I get to spend with you all is fantastic. It's Wednesday. It's time for Leaders Talk. And I am, as always, your intrepid host, Andrew Dupe, head of communications here at Leaders Brands. And today, I have with me Sarah Chardonnens.
Hello.
I think I got it right. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I've been practicing that one. But yeah, Sarah is a very interesting individual. She began her career as a precocious musician. And very early on, she learned music with her family in both an educational and a musical environment. As the early age of 14, she won a first prize at a regional music competition. And she then began to pursue parallel studies in both education and music. Her training in her musical career took her to Switzerland and throughout the rest of Europe. So she's also the author of several popular works and scientific articles. Her research focuses on the development of individual self-regulation during the learning phases and the impact of artificial intelligence on the learners and cognitive and motivational processes. Importantly to us, she is the author of The Learning Revolution that is going to be available in stores on April 29. Sarah, welcome. So that's going to be an interesting story about how you kind of segued into from music into this. But I kind of want to start with the essential question. Why this book that we're talking about? What made you feel like this was the right time for you to write The Learning Revolution?
That's a good question. Thank you to give me the opportunity to explore the question with you and to reflect more deeply. I think we live in extraordinary times, and AI is really reshaping the world at dizzying speed. It diagnoses disease more accurately than doctors. It drives cars. You have seen maybe in Arizona. It even composes music. And what if I told you that the greatest risk of artificial intelligence is not that it will surpass us, but that we might let it replace the very effort of thinking for ourselves? That's the problem, I think. And that was the point, the central point of the learning revolution and my researches.
Well, let's deep dive in a little bit into what you feel like learning actually is. I mean, well, what is it to you?
What is learning?
What is what is learning to you? Yeah.
Learning it's quite difficult to give an explanation in few words, but I would say learning is not the passive absorption of facts. We cannot eat and learn. Learning is really a dynamic, continuous transformation of our brain. It's the building of new neural pathways, shaped by curiosity, effort, emotional engagement, and of course action. We need to be active to learn, and to learn we need to manipulate the information to stay focused. And this is a process of experimentation and appropriation, I would say. But what's also important is the emotional and rational intelligence. You need both. You learn with emotion and with your brain.
Okay. So, I mean, maybe try to make that something that's easy for the audience to understand, maybe by framing it from the position of, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you have come to that conclusion about, what learning is and how it might relate again as we kind of dig into the whole artificial intelligence angle.
Mm-hmm. So I'm a researcher, I'm a teacher, scientist, and I speak with in educational sciences. So, and for years, also in the conservatoire with my clarinet students, I was practicing what is human learning. I was studying what does it mean. And now with the intersection of AI and human learning, that's a different. The question is always the same, but we need to define, to embrace this technology without losing our human essence. You know, we need to be human and to use these technologies too. So that's the question: how can we combine both of them? Because AI is not a neutral force. It influences how we think, how we learn, and how we make decisions. So if we do not understand this influence, we risk becoming passive passengers in this intellectual journey. So that's why I wrote the Learning Revolution, and before that, I made a lot of researches. So this book is more than a collection of ideas. It's an explanation to understand how we learn and how can AI influence the learning way. It's a compass for those who want to navigate in the future of learning, not by resisting technology, but by integrating it wisely.
Well, one of the things that I've had many guests that talked about AI. One of my closest friends, Cal, so I'll shout out to him again. I've done it more than once. He's very obsessed with AI. He's friends with Sam Altman. But one of the things that I regularly talk to him about, and I think maybe you can frame this a little better for our audience, is the concept of intelligence. Because when we talk about artificial intelligence, many people immediately think that it's the exact copy of another human being or something like that. So in this concept of learning in AI, what really is intelligence talking about in that context?
It's also a big question. I think.
Yeah, I know exactly that, but I tell you, it's the one everybody really keeps.
That's one of the
That's
one of the key concept of the book too.
Yeah.
I mean, intelligence for our human. That refers to the capacity to reason, to connect ideas, to solve problems, to think and find solutions. And we use the word artificial intelligence, but it's not intelligence because it refers to the ability of machine or computers systems to perform. And that's a difference, such as we are learning from experience, understanding language and recognizing patterns. So AI do, but for us, we are in the human ecosystem. Quite different. It's quite different, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and so with that kind of in mind, do you feel like the very concept of education is kind of at a crossroads right now? I mean, what kind of challenges are we facing in, having with this revolution that you so aptly put it going on?
Yeah, it's very interesting now because it's very quick. It's It's incredible. And the human ecosystem of learning, it's an environment designed to cultivate our potential. And there are some school, but there are some music school or a lot of possibilities to learn. And today it stands at this crossroad, as you say, because AI challenges its very foundation of this ecosystem, I think. And our goal today is not to understand how these forces interact, but I think is AI should be not a substitute, but we should use it as an amplifier or of our human capacities. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and that's actually what I completely agree with you, and I think that's where people sometimes get lost is in the idea that artificial intelligence is some kind of complete replacement. Like you can say, and you can take artificial intelligence and plug it into everything, and it's just going to do it all for you. And that's where I think some of the fear comes from, where people say, well, is my job going to be replaced? Are doctors going to become obsolete? Or are programmers going to become obsolete? I know several friends who are programmers, graphic artists that say, oh my gosh, with the way that things are going, how long am I going to be able to have a job when someone can just type in, I want a picture of a building and it's done? So, I mean, what do you say to those kind of fears and concerns that people may have?
Yes, so that's the way I think we are all very. Personally, I find it very impressive, and
Mhm.
it's afraid to. I confess, I feel both fascination and concern about this. And but maybe from Montaigne, and this is a French philosopher, and he told man is more afraid of what he imagines than what
Hmm.
he is. And that's the reason we don't understand all the concept of AI. It's very quick. The evolution is so quick that we don't have time to learn it, to use it, to practice, to understand how it works. And with AI, I think we often fear. What we often fear is not the machine or the
Yeah.
tools, the AI tools. It is our own tendency to delegate our effort, our attention, or the thinking. So
Yeah.
I think there are two traps. The first one is the cognitive laziness, because we are lazy. If you find a solution,
Yeah, you're right.
that's right. If you
Yeah.
find a solution, I can ask ChatGPT. It's fantastic. Letting machine think for us. It's
Mhm.
great. And this is a trap. And the second one is the cognitive overload, because we have so much information so quick, and we are drawing in information without depth or reflection. We don't have time to think about all this stuff. We use it, and it's dangerous. So the learning revolution was born from this conviction. We need a model that keeps us at the center of our learning
Mhm.
activities, a model that values curiosity, creativity, or our soft skills, and human connections too. So, and in this way, AI could be used as a lever and not a crutch.
Yeah, absolutely. And as an old history teacher, I can tell you, human history is just filled with us up trying to find shortcuts. That's pretty much everything from fire to nowadays has always been that.
Mm,
But yeah, so you mentioned that this model. So in the book you go into it, you call it synapse, which
yeah.
excellent name. Immediately clicks the synapses up here to think about it. So yeah, why that name other than the obvious?
Of course, as you said, because of the heart of all learning, there are some connections. So
Yeah.
biological or artificial. So that's the way I choose synapse. And it means networks, interaction, of course. But the second reason is that's the diminutive, the explanation of the four strata, four phases of this model. Because
Okay.
SE means sensory input.
Okay.
Then you have network adaptation. The third phase is participation. And the fourth one, the last one, is storage and embodiment. And these
Okay.
are the essential phases of learning process. So if you are learning, you need this kind of four phases, and these phases are interactive.
Okay. I mean, could you deep dive a little bit more into those four phases, just so the audience can kind of understand, what
Okay.
exactly they're doing. Yeah.
Okay, I will try. The first phase is sensory input. It
Okay.
means reception and activation. At the beginning of learning, the first sparks, when curiosity, that's the very first moment of learning, and that's when your attention is captured. So
Mhm.
if you can you are not you don't know how to ride a bike, for example, and it's like you see someone riding a bike and you think, oh, I would like to do it, it's cool, it makes you want to do it, and you can imagine how nice it will be to feel the hair in your hair, the wind in your hair, but you cannot do it. This is the first sparks of the learning. You have motivation, and you have a will that
Mhm.
comes. And the second part, that's network adaptation. So it means that's the second phase of learning, is adaptation and adjustment. here you are confronted with new informations. You challenge your existing beliefs because you have an idea how to ride a bike, but you didn't practice it. You don't know, and you can reorganize your knowledge. And so you have your bike, and you want to start to understand, and then you go, oh, I need balance. Oh, I need coordination with the food, and you need exercise and maybe a little time, a lot of time. So this second phase, this is really the adaptation and adjustment. It takes time, and you need to practice. And so you are not far from feeling the wind in your ears, but
Yeah.
it's not. You have to do the work, and it needs practice. And the AI cannot help for this. You need to do it. To learn, you need to be active and to do the job. So that's maybe a risk of AI, too much use AI. So AI can guide us gently, can offering feedback by learning, but you should do the job. And the third phase is the observation and self-regulation. It's like a control tower of your own learning. This is the phase of metacognition. You are learning to learn. So you can visualize your progress. You can realize where you have difficulties. And so you became master of your own progresses. And this is less, it's more difficult to recognize and to develop the learning to learn in the learning process, but it's very important too. And that's when you understand that you need a certain speed with your bike, and but you don't are sure enough. So you need to observe yourself how you learn, to find little tricks. And in this phase, I think AI could help, because maybe sometimes we can have some analysis tools that helps us to when we are learning, and the AI can suggest ways we could improve, but it doesn't feel everything you feel. It's all the emotion you have, the fears or the anxieties or so that's not that's real evil and not a crutch. So, and I think in this process there are three mistakes that we can do. Not to learn. The first one is not starting. The second one is not persevering. So you need to practice. And the third is this phase is not observing. How do you say it? Observing yourself.
Observing, yeah.
Observing, thank you. Not observing yourself. So we need to be conscious of our own learning way. And the AI can be a guide, but cannot do the job. And the last one, the last phase is the storage and embodiment. That means the consolidation of what you have learned. That's the final step. Anchoring knowledge deeply, making it transferable. So you need to practice, and it becomes automatic. So if you have practiced a lot with your bike, for example, you have integrated balance. You can change the speed. You can take turns, right, left, and so on. It's okay. And then you can go in the mountain, or you can cross rivers. You can try other things if you have a basic consolidation of your learning. It means it's like an exploration of what you can and a use of your automatic skills that you have developed.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So at each one of these phases, AI can help you, but it could also have some risks. You mentioned a couple of added a couple of points there. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. I develop a lot of examples in the book to explain each phase. At every phase, AI is both a potential amplifier or a possible trap. And I have made some list with researchers, scientists, papers. I've read a lot of things. to find what kind of amplifiers possibilities are and what kind of traps they are with these 4 phases during the whole learning process.
So one of the other things you talk about 3 revolutions that we're facing. I think you mentioned it: cognitive, educational, and ethical. Which one of those do you feel like is the most urgent?
I think both of 3. The 3.
Yes.
It's difficult to answer. I think the cognitive one, the cognitive revolution, that's when brain science meets AI. It's revealing how we learn, how machines can support or undermine this learning. So it's very important. The second one you told is educational revolution.
Yeah.
As a teacher, I think that's the point where our teaching methods must evolve. And that's embracing the hybrid path that preserves human agency. We should stay master of our learning and of the cognitive effort and the actions. And the third revolution was the ethical one.
Ethical,
Of
yeah.
course, yes. And this one is very important too, because it's about human dignity and transparency of data, and the control must remain at the how do you say, the core of our technological choices. So we need to have the control and to preserve the human being. If I would choose between 3, I think they are inseparable. How do you say? Inseparable.
Inseparable, yeah.
Inseparable. And together they shape the vision of the learning revolution.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good way of looking at it. I know that the ethical is probably what a lot of people think about immediately when it comes to it, but you're absolutely right. All of them together really kind of create a unified whole that when you see it, that's the best way to be able to kind of understand where we're going with it. So speaking of where we're going with it, let's look ahead. I mean, what kind of skills should we be focusing on right now for our future with this?
That's a big discussion. Yeah.
I'm not asking small ones today. I want all the answers. The audience is here, and they're a captive audience. We're here to find the.
I think curiosity, creativity, improvisation, critical thinking, and my subject in research is self-regulation. And these are not so just soft skills. I think they are essential human capacities today that no algorithm can replicate. Of course, tomorrow AI will be more present, more powerful. But the real question is not what AI will become. It's who we will choose to be and what as learner and as humans. That's our choice, I think. And I already said it. I think the learning revolution is like a compass to know. It's not a fixed manual. It's an invitation to reflect, to stay awake, and to cultivate curiosity. And yeah.
Okay. Well, as we're kind of wrapping up here and winding down, let's talk about a little bit of reflection. Like, what would you most like to see AI help us with tomorrow?
It will help us in a lot of ways. I think we should ask this to all the people that are listening to this podcast, and they should give commenters. So, or maybe on my own internet website, it could be very interesting to know this. For what do we need AI? For me personally, I think I should learn patience. I think I would an AI that can help me to be patient, because it's the most difficult thing with this chat GPT. You have answers and things. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you for you and for the audience. I mean, for myself, it's probably something very similar, or at least I feel like AI is something that can help us stay focused, and I think that focus is one of the things that we're a lot of us are beginning to learn that AI is something that can do that because our brains are still what's powering the AI, even if it doesn't look like it. It's
Mhm.
still the human element that is adding to it. I mean, at least until we get to the crazy point that people like Kaplan and Musk and all of them say when we get AGI and it can think for itself, which I don't really want to see that one come. But the rest of it, yeah, I think that finding focus and being a tool and a helper is what I feel AI should be a goal for. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? You can absolutely let us know in the chat on this, or head and talk to Sarah. Sarah, how can our audience find out more about you so that they can engage with you?
Maybe of my website, www.sarahchardonnens.com. No,
Okay.
TH. How do you say it in English? I don't know.
Don't
Uh,
worry, we'll have the link
I-
right down below.
this one, exactly.
So we will use handy dandy technology again to get that available.
That's
But
right.
also, I think the best way to engage with you as well, April 29, Learning Revolution.
I'm going to make an art call to action, and I could put this on my website to have more contacts with people to exchange things. And I also a member of the American Society for AI. So I became the invitation, and we are meeting people in Boston in June. So we are connecting and trying to make the things better and to communicate and exchange ideas, researchers and developers. That's the way I teach and I speak a lot. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, those links are down below. Links to the Learning Revolution should be available by the time that this is on the air. So hit that buy button. Go ahead and get all the answers for AI from Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciated it. This was a great conversation, and I look forward to the future. I think we're going to have you back on probably a little bit later. We may have a touch base and see where things have gone. Maybe we'll be replaced by AI avatars by then.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. With great pleasure. Yes, it would be nice. Thank you,
Perfect.
Andrew.
Thank you, Sarah.